Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to RedIn30, where we make you red in 30, literally. This one's called Vows. Go.
I never seen someone have it this way. Believe that. Tempted to leave, but now I gotta stay. I need that. All of the details that you wanna know.
You wanna know.
Told you the truth, now you want me to go.
Told you the truth, now you want me to go.
No turning back, cause I went out my way. Threw out my cards, now there's no games to play. You didn't mean to do it, but it hurt me. Can't even promise what it's gonna be. I vow to stay at home. If you vow to never leave me alone, and I vow to never leave you alone. If you vow to never leave me alone.
Yeah. Go.
My mind is made up, I love you, I know. Believe that. I give my time up just for you to grow. I need that. All of the places that you wanna go.
You wanna go.
Just up on board and then I rode a boat.
I rode a boat.
The way it looks, yeah, I've seen this before.
Yo.
I wrote the book, so this lesson I know. I knew how to do it when it hurt me.
I know how to do it when it hurt me.
I can promise you this what it's gonna be.
Yeah. What I said.
I vow to stay at home. If you vow to never leave me alone, and I vow to never leave
I'll go back to the vocals again.
If you vow to never leave me alone, I vow to stay at home.
This is RedIn30, where we make you red in 30. Literally, we got 30 minutes to do this. RedIn30 is a 30-day reading of the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. We believe in the entire Bible. We believe the Bible is a story about who you and I are, but we believe the red words tell us who we are in the story. When I speak about the red words, I'm speaking of the words of Jesus, the Christ. All we're talking about is Jesus, truth, and you, all using
Red words.
red words. I am DMEJ. You here?
Yeah.
Yeah, we here, and so we back at it. Thank you guys for watching. Well, I kind of want to say thank you for watching. I really don't care. Like,
Right.
I don't want to sound like I don't care if people watch, but you know, when you say thank you for something, it's like they're doing you a favor.
Nah, this for y'all anyway.
And I don't want to be like I'm doing them a favor. At this point, we're just sitting here talking about the conversation.
Right.
But I'll say that I'm glad that you've been watching. I'm glad that you're here.
Keep watching.
Keep watching, and we just gonna keep learning together. So, bro, I'm going to do my best in this pod to not sound any kind of way. And I remember one time we were talking, and you know, all men are created equal. It's not biblical, so
Right.
so it's not in the Bible. So the Bible does not preach equality, but it preaches equal opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But in order for someone to request or be thinking of equality, that it has to be preluded by comparison.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I don't want to go into the whole, you know, equality and racial thing or whatever, because you know, like, who got more resources? But it's more, what's resources?
Right.
Like, is more access to this ideology better for me or not? I know there was some mixing of cultures, and some cultures said if they'd have never mixed, they'd never would have had some things that leaked over into the culture and vice versa.
Right.
Equality is based on comparison. Never heard that before. Mm-hmm. But equality is based on comparison, but opportunity is a different thing, right? So we talked about that with God being equal opportunity, so we just talk about that. But I would wonder, bro, and sometimes I look around, okay, and I'm trying to do this without sounding no kind of way, bro, because I don't want to make anybody feel what I'm about to say can come across as condescending sometimes. but it's not being condescending. I think it's being an actual representative of what it is when I'm about to say what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I would wonder. We was reading about the pool of Bethesda, right? And I was reading about that. And if you read the context, some people go straight to the miracles and all that, which is we are pro context here at RedIn30. But reading the context is a way they describe the moment. They say Jesus come, and they say they had a bunch of sick and maimed people around the pool, and they were all waiting for the waters to be troubled, before the angel would come down and do all the stuff like that, right? And they said they had a bunch of them, but then when Jesus, the man that Jesus dealt with, of course, hindsight, he says, take up your bed and walk. But the man that Jesus deals with, they called him a certain man. Mm-hmm. It's like, why does, and Nakia pointed this out to me a long time ago, that a lot of what we think is righteousness or righteous judgment or the right thing to do, we're protesting, we're fighting for the rights and everything. Jesus wasn't doing none of that.
No.
I mean, he wasn't out at the crucifixions, raising people from the dead.
Right.
Why wouldn't he?
Right. Right.
Can somebody explain to me why he wasn't going to the crucifixions and raising people from the dead? Why wasn't he, at the pool of Bethesda? Why does he pick this certain man and just doesn't do a healing revival? Why, when it's time to go raise Lazarus up, he goes and say, Lazarus, come forth. And the preacher's like the preacher. He had to call his name because if he would have just said, come forth, everybody would have got up the grave. But why didn't he?
Right.
Why didn't he just bring everybody back?
Right.
Why didn't he bring John the Baptist back? Why didn't he go get him and put John the Baptist's head back on and bring him back? These are some tough questions that we don't preach about or we don't talk about. And it leads me to an understanding about something. I would wonder why. So I asked you a question a little while ago. Mm-hmm. I said, why didn't Jesus just do an open call for discipleship?
Right.
Now, if I break the word discipleship, it's a whole other ball game. We're getting to that.
Right.
But why didn't he do just an open call for people coming and follow him? Like, why is it specified that he goes and get, Peter, Simon Peter, or he go get Matthew, or he go get, like, why doesn't he do an open call? And eventually he does. I'm not saying he doesn't, but why is it that he specifically picks his staff from certain people and not others? Mm-hmm. Why is it that when the rich young ruler comes running and say, how did I inherit eternal life? He asks him questions and then he takes him through a test which says, go sell what you have, give it to the poor, and then take up the cross and follow me. Mm-hmm. He's giving him an opportunity. Of course, we know hindsight, he fails that because he believed what he had was more than what Jesus was going to show him. But it's like, why is it that? Like, why does, what's the reasoning for that? Like, why is it not open call? Why are you not taking resumes? You know what I'm saying? And I'll come to a conclusion. As I've lived my life and I've looked around and I've observed this about myself first before I'll say it about anybody else, okay? But what I'm about to say, I've observed about myself first before I say about anybody else. Mm-hmm. But as I've observed it about myself, it made me wake up to see what's really going on. That sometimes you're expecting things out of individuals that just ain't got it to give.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And it's not that they could not have it to give, but a lot of times people are not putting themselves in position to be more of what's expected for them.
Right. Right.
Make sense? Yep. Like, and sometimes I'm gonna look around and me being the type of person, you've been knowing me for a long time. You've been knowing me since, forever. So you've always seen my demeanor, and to a fault sometimes, I guess it can be, but my demeanor has always be to help people.
Yeah.
And I did a pod said we need to stop helping people and start handing people up. Stop helping out and start handing them up. Right, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I learned the lesson the hard way. But I would always be able to see the possibilities or the potentials in people. Mm-hmm. And then I would act on them.
Right.
But it doesn't work out that well all the time, right? Because sometimes people say you're trying to
like 8 out of 10
hold them back, or some people say you're trying to
Like 9 out of
Tell
10.
them what to do, even though you're not doing anything before we start talking. You know what I'm saying? All these different, right? But then it brings it back to Jesus, because why does he say, he who has ears to hear, let him hear?
Mm-hmm.
Or why does he say stuff like, many are called, but few are chosen?
Right.
Why does he talk about the wide path and the narrow path? Why do we talk about some see, but they don't see it?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Why does he say, I'm coming? He says that I'm coming to separate the sheep from the goats.
Mm-hmm.
If everybody's the same, why does he say these things? And it really brings me to and we was talking about the Lord's Prayer in the last pod, all the pods. But it really brings me back to alignment or unalignment. Mm-hmm. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. Sounds like he who is aligned, let him be aligned. It's almost like, for God so loved the world. It'd have been one thing if he said, for God so loved the world, he's saving everybody. All right, for God so loved the world that he bringing everybody in. Right. They don't say that.
Right.
It said, for God so loved the world, he sent his only begotten son. He's specifying that whosoever. So that means there's some whosoevers that won't believe.
Right. Right. Right.
In a much smaller sense, in a much more concise sense, even in the quote unquote circle of believers, there's still some that may never reach the potential of what God has expected of them, because they're not willing to. I'm gonna say it one way, then I'm gonna say it another way. You ready? They're not willing to. On the outside, it looks like they're not willing to do the things that you need to do to be what God wants you to be. But then the real understanding of that is you're not willing to give up the things that you think are important, that are actually weighing you down from being who you're supposed to be.
Right.
You get me? And over time, I started, I would never, I would say this to myself first, I would never really call somebody a loser, right? But sometimes people have loser tendencies. And if you have loser tendencies, and then you continue in your loser tendencies, you might be a loser, right? Hold on, but okay.
Right, yeah.
And I'm talking to myself because I've had loser tendencies before, and I continued in some ways, and it's like I look at myself in the mirror and be like, "Hey, bro, you're being a loser right now." You get what I'm saying? And I mean, when I say loser, I'm not talking about a winner or a loser, but just somebody that's just not living up to what they're supposed to live up to, right? But there are places and possibilities that are already in place for us from God, but we have a tendency to not rise to the occasion. And then even when I feel like you feel like we've risen to the occasion, sometimes we are reaching out a hand to others who not willing to rise to the occasion.
Right.
And it's a hard pill for me to have to swallow. And I want people to learn this, even when helping people or reaching out, because we got this false thing. You was looking up something. I don't know, you was looking up something to say?
Yeah, I was just from the question.
Right.
So why he picked those?
Why you
guys.
pick these people, not these people, right?
And I was just thinking, all right, he actually called their names out, right?
Right.
But didn't he actually call Zacchaeus' name out too? Like he didn't know. He didn't know Zacchaeus.
He didn't know
like
Zacchaeus.
He didn't know
Right.
those. So
Right.
that was just something that just blended in my head just now, because
Right.
he actually called those people names.
Right.
Now, even when it came down to the rich young ruler, he didn't
say the
call
boy's name.
He didn't say his name. So it that's just something. You know what I'm saying? That's just something.
What the word name means? What?
Yeah,
His character.
Yeah.
I think there are characters. I think over because of the way they branded Jesus and branded Christianity, we've taken on the message in the wrong way, and so we think it is an open door policy,
Right.
or we think is the old statement: the doors of the church are open, right? And we think that hey, just everybody walk in. Hey, everybody, let's go. So what that relates to on an individual aspect is you end up trying to be helpful to every little thing, and you don't pay attention to the will.
Right.
Try to help everybody with it, and you don't pay attention when sometimes the ones that you're trying to help was never going to be nothing in the first place. I don't want to sound like that, but they were never going to, some people were never going to be what you see for them, because there's a sacrifice and a commitment that it takes,
Right.
and a denial of self that it takes to get to a certain place in God,
Yeah.
right? Or to realize God in you, which sheds away all the other thoughts. And a lot of times, I can only speak for myself with this. It's been a lot of losses, a lot of corrections, a lot of rebukes, a lot of failures, a lot of long nights for me, a lot of personal thought process, a lot of personal anxiety, maybe stress within myself that kind of shaped and molded me and tailored me into realizing what things were really about and what was really the truth about everything, and made me really. It brought me to the it drove me to the force of Thy kingdom come, Thy will be done.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't like I found that and it's another principle. No, it's like it drove me to where that's all I had left for my sanity, right? And sometimes I think that we can waste time trying to build people or build situations when that may not be what is allotted in the will of God.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying that it won't happen. I'm not saying that you don't help anybody. But I think this all help, all encourage, all build everybody like 100%, like you're just going, that's what we're doing. It's not necessarily the case, because I would see Jesus close the door upon people.
Right. Right.
And I'm trying to figure out why he would leave. He would go up in them. They came around, he'd go up in the mountains.
Yeah.
And he don't start talking till he go up in the mountains. Because only the disciples came up there, the ones that were disciplined enough to come up there and do it.
Right.
Then he would talk.
Then,
But why would he do that? Why would he not? And he make a statement one time. He said, y'all just follow me because y'all want to see the miracles. Y'all just trying to eat the bread. Y'all want me to multiply bread and wine again.
right.
He's making a point. There's some people, no matter what the miracle is, no matter what you explain, they still want what they want for themselves.
Right.
Now, I think that's what we're getting to in this conversation. There are people that just they'll do good.
Yeah.
They'll do good things that seem to be for other people. But at the end of the day, their heart is still wretched with self-serving.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? You got to be careful about. See, let me tell you something, EJ, from behind the veil. A lot of these charitable organizations, you got to be careful about them, because there's a lot of benefit from charitable organizations.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
You know, charitable organizations get tax breaks.
Yep.
They can do things in their organization and not be taxed on them, right?
They gotta pay their employees.
They got to pay their employees. Like when you see these things where they're giving online or you're giving stuff, probably 3/4 of that money go to operating costs. They don't even go towards the wells.
Right.
I remember there was one guy, and I can't remember. I wish I had the company name because I would say it on there. But he was doing water wells, but he made a dope way to make it to where he got donations from corporations for his operating costs, so that when the people would give, people would just give.
Yeah. Right.
They would be able to give straight to the wells, or straight to what he was doing, which I thought was a dope concept. I forgot it's the water coming, the well coming. I'll find it. I'll make sure I mention it on one of the, because I supported him for a while. But the formulation of how he did it was dope, because it allowed me and you to actually support if we felt like we wanted to support the actual wells and not support the flight to the wells. I know all of it matters, but it's like there's so many different breaks and things that you get that it becomes beneficial to be a charitable organization. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
And I get how everything is. But it's still tricky or trippy, because you can still be doing the good things for the community,
Right.
but still be self-serving and not have learned the lesson of deny yourself. Make sense?
Yep.
And so every time I see, and it's almost like I see Jesus talking about, he said, I see Jesus, they'll have their reward. That's a statement in Matthew 6. He said, listen, they want the people to clap for them. You know what I'm saying? They want people to see them and just be like, wow, they're spiritual. wow, they're amazing at that thing. Or wow, they can really sing. Or wow, they can really play. Or wow, they can really talk. Or wow, they're really good at this. You can really paint. Or wow, you can really draw. Or wow, you can really write well. Or wow, you can really whatever. And they want people to say that. I mean, we're entrenched in it social media wise because it's for that, right?
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's like, what profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul? Thou savorest. Now, see, it's more than you know. He says, "Thou get behind me,
Satan,
because thou savorest the things that be of men and not of God." Not would that be that the accolades of men? Mm-hmm. Would it be that you're savoring men's resources more than God's? Mm. Would you be that you're savoring what men think about you more than what God thinks about you?
Yeah.
And it's such a trick. I thank God for my failures, because what I call failures a lot of times was saviors. You know, there were several places that I could have been and could have done and could have gone that would have minimized my effect on the world.
Yeah.
Whatever that is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like whatever effect on the world. Like whatever that is. Right. And I don't know, we were sitting there and I was just thinking how much time Jesus was very efficient in not wasting any time. He did not run after the rich young ruler.
Right. Yep.
He did not go after him. He did not say, bro, but wait. He didn't say any of that. He just turned around and said, how hard is it for a rich man to enter into the kingdom? You see what I'm saying? He didn't try to stop Judas.
Nope.
He didn't do it. I mean, he came back to Peter after and said, do you love me more than these? Because Peter was still there. But Peter had left and went back fishing. He didn't ask Peter, man, why you left me, man? Why you denied me, man? It wasn't none of that, because he understood what it was. There were several things that he didn't try to make the Pharisees or make Nicodemus them understand what he was talking about. He didn't try to run after John the Baptist. John left. After John baptized him, John left because Jesus wasn't saying the things that John was saying. When he started talking about on the Beatitudes and all that stuff, it didn't sound what, because John said he gonna purge the flow with you. It didn't sound like it.
Right.
He didn't go. So then John, and I think John's in prison. He said, "Go ask him. Is he the one? Do we look for another?" Jesus didn't even acknowledge it. He said, "Tell him all the stuff that's going on." It was like, I'm not going to try to convince you, because you probably got you were destined. You ready for this? Ready for this statement? You were destined to get your head cut off. It didn't make any sense. You had already made your mind up what you wanted to do, and the track that you had chosen was going to be a beheaded track. It didn't matter for me to evangelize you or try to save you or try to help you or try to talk you into it, because you had already made your mind up within yourself where you wanted to go. I can see where that leads to, but it is what it is. Be mindful in the way when you're in the way with your adversary. Lest you be offended and they deliver you up to. He's trying to say that right now, but if you're listening, if John is listening, he doesn't have these issues. But I realize that this is not the wave you're on, so this is the path that you're going to take.
Right.
And it's a loser path. He lost his life. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's
right.
It's that type of, he didn't run. He told Judas, whatever you're going to do it quick. And then they said, and Judas said the devil entered into him. But the devil wasn't into him when he talked to him at first. But he wasn't trying to, now Judas, you don't have to really do this, man. Like, come on, man. Like, hey, man, listen, you're better than this, man. You usually got to stay hard, work hard, man, and stay focused. He ain't doing none of that. He was like, man, whatever you're going to do, go ahead and do it. Peter started talking that noise. He said, man, you're going to deny me 3 times. Before the roosters start yelling, man, like, you're going to deny me. And he wasn't trying to explain to him, man, like, listen, but you don't be a denier now, man. Like, you got to stick with it. And, nah, bro, you going to, this is the path you've chosen. I can see the way that you do things, that you're going to be like this. I see what's up. So I'm just going to let it ride. And I'm learning Jesus.
Yeah, that's what it is.
You see it? That makes sense, don't it?
Yeah, that's what it is.
You got to let it ride.
Yep.
You got to let it ride. Even though these are some of the guys that he chose. You got to let it ride. He say, how we going to feed all these people? I'm learning Jesus, but how we going to feed all these people? Say, Philip jump off the porch and say, 200 pennyworth not enough. Jesus doesn't start breaking down to Philip. Hey, Philip, now listen, you worry about money too much, or you're limited in your mind because you think about that. You know, he just moves on. Jesus just moves on. That's gonna be the title of this pod. And Jesus moves on. he just moves on.
Right.
He don't on the cross.
Right,
on the
right,
cross,
right.
got two thieves. The other thief trying to make fun of him. The other one started talking. Jesus ain't say nothing to the other boy. He said, "Man, you gonna go to hell." None of that. He ain't do none of that. He just, I'm up here. And then when the other dude starts aligning with Jesus, watch me. Jesus acknowledges. Oh my God, you ready for this?
Yeah.
Jesus acknowledges alignment. When he begins to align with God's will, he said, "Listen, man, just because the other thief picks the mole." He said, "Man, just remember me."
Mm-hmm.
And today, Jesus said, "Today you'll be in paradise," right? Which I had another conversation about. They talking about Jesus went to hell for 3 days, but I don't know how he went to hell if he said, "Today you're gonna be with me in paradise." We don't read, okay? We come over so we don't read, but I'm trying to get to a point that he doesn't.
Right.
He doesn't. It's not the idea. And I don't know how much time we got left. The idea of being to your according to your faith, right? Is just what it is.
Right.
I've not seen such great faith. I've not seen such great faith. It wasn't dependent on whether they were Jews or not.
Right.
Centurion, not a Jew. Syrophoenician woman, not a Jew. But he says great faith. Right? It doesn't depend on any of those things. It depends on the alignment. And I think that a lot of times we are trying to, watch this, we are also trying to align ourselves with somebody that's not aligned.
Yeah. Yeah.
How can two walk together? Except they agree, it's Old Testament, right? The two of you agree to touch anything, right? Like the unequally yoked stuff, it's like, is that conversation because have you denied yourself? As a person talking like this now, I've learned too that I've had a lot of conversations that were Jesus says their heart is hard and the ears are dull, wax dull of hearing. Because they were never prepared to hear it in the first place. I'm not talking about this could have been me. This has been me before, where something fell on deaf ears because I wasn't prepared to hear it. Like I wasn't trying to hear it in the first place.
Right.
I might have looked at you and be like, yeah, man, what's up, man? But it's like I wasn't trying to hear it because I'd already made my mind up what was important to me.
Right.
And a lot of times, this is why you have to deny yourself, take up the cross from it, leave house and land, forsake the house and land, father, mother, wife, and children. Right? This is why you have to do these things because you can't really hear what's being said to you because you keep talking to yourself, or you keep letting something else talk to you, and you built these monuments to heaven that go nowhere. The Tower of Babel. It's like you're babbling to yourself.
Yeah.
You build these monuments to try to get to heaven one way, and all they're going to do is knock it down because it's confusion. Make sense to you?
Right.
And so I'm learning, I'm just sitting there just now, I was like, man, I look at some stuff online, I watch different things that people do, and I'm like, you know what? I think sometimes, and by no means does it mean stop saying what you need to say and do what you need to do, but you need to do it from a sovereign perspective. Do it because it's the will of God. God wants you to do it. But don't get into your take of how things are supposed to be done because sometimes you're just wasting your time.
And just submit, man, because
just submit and look. I guess what I think I think we should submit and then promote submission.
Yeah,
and that's it. Yeah. I don't want to help you with your business. I don't want to help you with your career or none of that stuff like that. Like if that's part of the will, we submit and God will work it out.
Right.
But I've wasted a lot of time over my life. Doing things the way that I thought they were supposed to be done. You know what I'm saying? And you know what's funny about God? He never gave me no kudos for none of that.
Right.
He was just like, that's what you want to do. I ain't nothing to do with that.
Right.
He never was like, I never got like a badge of honor or a pat on the back. You get an A for effort. No, you don't get an A for effort. You get an A if you pass the test.
Right.
And it's that type of thing. He never would have like, well, son, you did a good job and you were trying to do the right thing. He don't care about trying to do the right thing. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done.
Right.
And I'm learning that about God, and I love him for it.
Yeah.
And I love him. I love him not letting me go to the place that I thought I wanted to go.
Yep.
Because by not being there, I found out where he is.
Yep.
Play the music, man. This is RedIn30, guys. RedIn30.
I never seen someone have it this way. Believe that. Tempted to leave, but now I gotta stay. I need that. All of the details that you wanna know. Told you the truth, now you want me to go. No turning back, cause I went out my way. Threw out my cards, now there's no games to play.